right, so top of the morning to you. What is growing on? A little bit of a nursery update today, and hopefully I can keep the dog off my leg. She's been wanting to play, getting a little crazy this morning, but we have finally gotten some plants back in. Been shipping a lot of avocados, got a bunch of cold hardy avocados for stock, for jobs finally again. There's the big girl herself. This is a typical morning routine. She likes to roll around, kick around, kind of still got that puppy craziness. But back to plants. So I did finally get some mangoes again. Probably bought about 40 mangoes in, got 100 on order. Been told I can pick them up this week, so mango area should actually really grow here over the next few weeks. Just did a bit of a nursery expansion. I originally, this all started as just 5 rows of bamboo 4 years ago. Now it's moved into, mangoes, avocados, and since originally I had the idea of being able to drive the cart through, you pick your bamboo, you pull it over to the trailer, and now we've just, we've gotten so tight on space and needed some more mat room. We've added, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more zones of irrigation here, all on drip for avocados, mangoes, those things that really don't like that overhead water. They don't want to be sprayed all the time, especially when we're talking about, irrigation water, well water, city water, whatever it may be. That causes all types of fungal issues with mangoes. If you go, most of the nurseries you go to throughout the state, you'll notice they're all on drip just for that reason. So avocados, I noticed a little bit of the same thing. They really want to have the water in the root zone. They can tolerate a little bit in the overhead, but that's only going to last a few months and they'll start to kind of get funky looking. Over the last few weeks, we've potted up a lot of our olives that were in 7 gallons, starting to get them in 15s. We actually did the same thing with a lot of our Jaboticabas. So looking just over here to this side, I had maybe 15, 25 gallon Jaboticabas a few months ago. Now we probably have 30 or 40 because a lot of the stock that I've been growing out over the years is now in bigger pots. So, 3 gallon reds, 3 gallon blue grape. I don't think I have any of the Grimmels in this area. Definitely got some Sabara in this area. Lots of 7s over in that area. Looks like we got a freak die-off over here, a potential freak die-off over there. And I don't know what that is. Every few months we get a die-off, whether it be a blue grape, a red, a Sabara. It's some type of soil condition. It can happen with the Jaboticabas. More common with the scarlet, like I talked about in another video. But it does happen. When you have thousands of plants and you lose one, it is to be expected. I did get a couple of our big reds potted up. I've got a few 25 gallon reds left. Those will probably be gone fairly fast, and this is the last of the big Sabaras in 25 gallons that from my last batch. So some big Jaboticabas if you're local. No, I cannot ship, and I hate teasing you guys, showing you all these plants. I know in my last nursery update video I had a ton of response about the Cercopia, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're on the West Coast, or sorry if you're out of pickup range and I couldn't ship it. Those guys are super delicate. Those big giant leaves, those stems are quite tender, so trying to pack that in a box, I tried one. It did not work out. I'm working on getting some smaller ones. If I can get this material smaller for shipping, I will. I'm just unable to do it with those, and I'm obviously unable to do it with these. This is our potting area. So for any of our plants that we're potting up, all of our soil mix has to be on the ground. On concrete, not on the ground, because of nematodes, because we get inspected all the time. Most everything we ship, especially if it comes in a 4-inch pot, that's actually from a pro mix. So that's a sterile mix also. That one's never on the ground. That one's on a pallet. I keep that inside the red building over here. I got a couple of pallets, trying to keep that stuff on standby. And like I mentioned a couple of videos ago, not only do we have a lack of patience, plants, and people right now in the industry, we've got a lack of materials like no other. I'm actually starting to run into it on jobs, installs we're doing, other trades, other things that were supposed to be done, things that are on back order holding us up. Typically I'm waiting like 3 months right now. If I order potting mix, if I order trays, I'm waiting a few months. So, put those orders in advance if you want to have those materials in stock, because I can tell you right now, we are super, super struggling. So let's see what's growing on over here on the other side. Okay, so favorite time of year, the Vitex is starting to flower out. And this guy flowers for like 7-8 months. So unlike your typical crepe myrtle that maybe has that, month and a half flower span, the Vitex flowers for most of the year. That's what really makes it awesome. We have a dwarf and a full-size variety. Here's that guy I just mentioned. Only got a couple of those left hanging on. Those are those Cercopia, big old leaves. Had a bunch of people ask me, do you need two? Do you need a male? Do you need a female? That was like the most common question after the last video, and also responses of people wanting to come get these things. Everybody I know that has one has one. They don't have two trees, and they're getting fruit. I don't know if they had two, if they would get more fruit, or the pollination would be better. But everyone I know only needs one tree to get fruit, so I don't think you have to have necessarily two of those. What's up? What's going on in here? Oh, times are tough, huh? Life of a dog. Got a bunch of special varieties of papayas. These ones are mostly for installs. These are select varieties I got from Josh. On this side over here, these are just the Red Lady varieties. Got that toilet paper plant. Looks like a couple of those big 3 gallons fell over. This one is quite awesome. This is the one that Rob Greenfield is, I guess, kind of famous for, because he uses this toilet paper for, I think, about a year. He said this thing is like a natural wet wipe. Smells quite nice also, super soft. Pretty awesome one to have, to be honest with you. I got one in the food forest. I can't wait for it to get a little bigger. We've got some persimmons hanging on, and you know, everybody asks, when do these things start fruiting? Well, they start fruiting really quite early, especially if they're a grafted tree. You know, 3 gallon persimmons, as you can see, they all have fruit on them developing right now. So most grafted trees can start fruiting really, really young. The thing is, with certain grafted trees, maybe like an avocado, or maybe like some varieties of mangoes, we don't want to let them fruit at a very young age when they're in a 3 gallon like this, because it almost kind of stunts the tree. That takes a ton of energy, you know, putting into that development of that fruit, all of those sugars that are in there. Now, some things, like I've heard Dr. Campbell say, you want to let some of the smaller variety mangoes, certain ones, fruit, because you almost want to stunt them because they're such aggressive growers. They're so vigorous. So certain varieties, when it comes to those, for sure. Star fruit, I've noticed no big deal letting those fruit kind of young. Sometimes with the loquats, when they're really small, I'll pop the flowers off. But for the most part, if this is a grafted tree, that means it's coming off of a mature tree, which is already fruiting. This thing can fruit really in the first year if you wanted to. I always tell people by the year 2 or 3, it's more of a guarantee. Looks like we got some big black sapotes over here, white sapote over here. What is going on? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? More black sapote, B10 carambola. I did find a bunch of more carambola. I actually got a really cool variety from a collector down in South Florida, Julian Lara. I believe this one's called Lara carambola. Picked those up recently. I think I only got like 10 of them. I'm already down to 6, so I shouldn't talk about it. They'll probably be gone. My favorite is still obviously the Carrie, the Shriekambangan, the Flying Tongue, but I did get a new one, so that was kind of exciting. This is all Firebush. So we've got the compacta, we've got the standard, we've got the dwarf, got a lot of that, the coreopsis, the native tick seed. That's the dwarf Firebush, and that's a great one for the butterflies, hummingbirds, just attracting some beneficial insects. And let's just talk about this one for a second. So this is the butterfly pea, and shout out to Amanda. If anybody's emailed me, dealt with anybody over here in the office, Amanda's probably responded to you, and I could thank Amanda for having this one. About a year ago when we got the store started, she was already growing this in her yard, and she had posted a picture of the tea. And this butterfly pea makes the most unbelievable tea. I should almost just make a video on the tea. You see that blue flower? It makes like this unbelievable blue looking drink. Pretty amazing looking. It looks like Kool-Aid. Nature's Kool-Aid for sure. But just shout out to Amanda. I'm thankful for her kind of getting us the seed for this. Actually buy the seed from her, so kind of a little kickback for Amanda. So when you buy this one, you're helping Amanda. But we have plants and seeds available of this, and this has been a super popular seller. I'd say 10 of these go out a week just in the mail, not counting the ones that we get picked up. So butterfly pea, super popular. This looks like some type of native salvia. Some of these are really difficult to tell apart unless they're flowering, so it's probably guessing the red or the white, but not positive. I did finally get for pickup a lot more of these June plum or dwarf amarellos in, so those took a little while to get back in stock. I just got a pile of them. Whoa, what do we got growing on over here? So Okinawa hibiscus. Oh, I did pass some Sapodilla back here. I did miss that. We've got some more flowering stuff. Oh, some dwarf firebush. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Oh, silaswood. So Sapodilla, if you live near the coast, definitely 9B or further south. It should probably even be in the zone 10 for Sapodilla. Although I've seen it fruiting in 9B. Awesome coastal tree. This thing tastes like a pear dipped in brown sugar. And this variety, in my opinion, is probably one of the best. It's not the biggest, but flavor-wise, has a really, really like no grit to it. Small seeds. I just actually had some fruit of this again recently. I picked it up when I was down south. Awesome Sapodilla. I'm sorry I'm not shipping those yet. I hope to get some smaller trees here eventually. Looks like we've got some Onsite and soursop on that row. Lots of bananas, tamarind, figs. And let's see what else is growing on around here. So lots of the rudbeckia, the black-eyed Susan. Lots of obviously our cranberry hibiscus. And, you know, out here just walking around and just snacking. So the favorite for me to plant into the kids' gardens. It's a great one just for picking, eating, going on sandwiches, going on salads, no matter what it may be. I see some last of the Inga Edulis hanging on over here, only in 3-gallon. We have been crazy windy in Florida. When I say crazy windy, like 15 to 20 knots last week. Yesterday's winds were insane, so the girls are picking up plants out here almost every day. You see all these coral honeysuckle on the ground. They were picked up yesterday morning. They blew over last night. It is a daily routine around here. And I just want to say something real quick. I have been to a lot of nurseries. I've been a landscaper, you know, for 20 years now. Plus, you know, for myself for 20 years, and I am super, super proud of my nursery staff. I have some amazing ladies that take care of this place, and I don't think and I'm not just bragging because this is my place, I don't think I've been to a cleaner nursery as far as when it comes to weeds in the pots, weeds in the plants. It's very rare to see any weeds in here. They weed the nursery by hand every day. You know, compared to most other commercial places, you know, they're using heinous practices. We're not even going to start talking about that right now. So, you know, it takes a lot more work to do it the right way, but it obviously pays off and it shows. I mean, you know, when you look out here in these plants, there's no weeds. You know, there's no weeds. There's a few sections that maybe they haven't weeded yet. For the most part, though, there's no weeds. I guess while I'm here, maybe I should talk about this one. Super popular in the summer. Awesome perennial to grow down here. Probably my favorite summertime tea is this Roselle tea. So this is the one they make the Roselle from with the calyx. Super high in vitamin C, makes a delicious red tea. You can also save the seed from this, replant it. They say it's a perennial, but it's more of a perennial if you're further south. So in my experience in Florida, this is an annual, although sometimes it will self-seed and come back. Mexican sunflower, the tithonia, lots of those always available. Dune sunflower and a couple of rogue or different varieties of salvias just kind of hanging on. Looks like we got some society garlic here. Those do have edible flowers. And then these are just all guavas going in. So I think I'm going to head over to the shipping area. Got a lot of this beautiful looking dragon's breath and pigeon peas. And I actually have a really, really special, I think it was a black and white spotted variety of pigeon pea from Africa that Katerina, my nursery manager, brought in from growing out at her own house. I don't even know where she selected the seed. It might even have gotten from a friend in Guatemala. I'll ask her, maybe we'll put that in the description, but a really special variety of pigeon pea that I never had before, and thanks to Katerina we now have, so really exciting. Turk's cap hibiscus, that's obviously one of our favorite edible flowers, and you can see we're kind of growing out a few of the special varieties of the cassava this year, just to keep them separated to know what we have. So all of these are labeled each pot, so we know the special varieties. Next year I'm hoping to be able to take this out in the field, plant it out, split it up, and just, you know, really keep these varieties separate from the other varieties. What happened 2 years ago when we planted these, I lost all the tags, so I've gotten these varieties twice now, hoping this time to actually hold on to them. So a little bit better labeling will probably help out a lot with that. But the Togo variety has been super, super, super popular. Definitely a favorite for everyone. So pigeon pea, figs going on here for days. Most of the figs even have figs on them right now. Got figs. You notice we're getting a little bit of these kind of brown rust spots from the overhead water. That is pretty common, especially when you're watering from above like this, like I talked about earlier with the drip zone. Doesn't really affect the health of the plant with the fig though. So we've noticed, you know, because these lose their leaves every year, They get a fresh set, they come back really well. And you can see a bunch of blown over plants there. Probably like another 15 varieties of mulberries. So we've got mulberries for days in here. Caliandra has been a super favorite of mine. I wish there was a flower over there so I could show you, but it's a beautiful powder puff plant that is a nitrogen fixer also. So it makes a big sprawling plant in the landscape, makes a beautiful flower. Robbie, maybe you could slap that up on the screen for them and let them see what that flower looks like. I know I've probably filmed it in some other videos, but it's a pretty awesome one for the landscape food forest. Lots of sweet almonds still, and I think I even got a pile of grapes in. Not something we normally have. Had a couple of jobs request them. We've got some blueberries in. Lots of the sweet almond. Got about, I don't know, 5 or 6 different varieties of muscadine grapes, mostly the Southern Home variety. That one is really popular. Here's a lot of that coral honeysuckle, the Starnes Rose, my Sandhill Select elderberry, Suriname cherry. This is a really cool one. I don't know why I struggled to get this plant. This is called necklace pod. This is a native plant. Makes really cool looking yellow flowers, but it's also a native nitrogen fixer. So really cool one for the food forest because it is native, having the flowers and that nitrogen fixation. Wish it had some flower spikes on it right now, but we don't quite yet. Lots of rosemary. Cattleya guavas, we got a lot of that yellow, a lot of that strawberry variety. And here's those big bananas I talked about last video. And we've got dwarf namois, praying hands, pinsang Ceylon, blue java, canandrin. I believe I got the dwarf Rajapuri. What else we got growing on in here? Orinoco, dwarf Orinoco, and Huamoa. So those are the ones I've got in field dug pups. Here's another awesome native. And when I go to the native nursery, you know, these guys have every native there is. The first thing I noticed was they had the building landscaped. And up by their main office, by the building where I pick up a lot of my plants, they have one of these tea bushes. And there is nothing in the whole place that has more beneficial, more predatory insects, more butterflies on it than this bush. Every single time I go there. So I've started to use these a lot more in the last 6 months. It's a really cool looking plant in the landscape. Has a really neat looking purple flower to it. I wish it had an edible factor, but I find it's more for bringing in the beneficial and the predatory insects. I know it's called tea bush, but I've never heard of any type of actual tea being made from it. So if that's something that's possible, please let me know. Fill me in. Little Cattleya guavas coming up. Lots of Fakahatchee grass. Lots of vetiver grass. Lots of muley grass. Beautyberry. What else we got growing on? We got some rootstocks coming up over here for loquats. We've got, I think, some little beautyberry. Don't even know what they've got coming up here in 1 gallon. We've got a regular katuk. We've got a variegated katuk. We've got all different types of varieties of chaya. I have the really small leaf one, which I find the small leaf one is really kind of hard to work with as far as cooking or eating wise. That one is awesome just planting as like a butterfly bush, something for the beneficial and the predatory insects. It flowers all the time. So actually I just saw some things fly by. You could see there's some flower spikes kind of on the top here. And it is really great for just bringing in the beneficial and predatory insects, you know, planting something for nature. So not only does this thing have an edible factor, but it's also kind of multi-function in that way. Big leaf chaya, and then our most popular chaya. This is one I got a few years ago. I think I got this from Josh. And this one's been named by a guy in Central Florida named Marabou Thomas. Marabou's awesome. He does a lot with perennial vegetables. I have his cookbook. He actually talks about how to cook a lot of these different perennial vegetables and mostly yams. So he's kind of like the yam guy down here, but this one's named after him. So this is the Marabou chaya. Pretty cool variety, and I would say it's the easiest to work with because it has such a big leaf. So I don't think I need to eat any katuk, but this is probably one of my favorite summertime greens, just because it's here all year long. Does really good in the shade, can also take some sun, and the flavor is just phenomenal. So katuk, awesome. You can see the variegated katuk. Little variegation. All right, so we are in ultra dry season right now in Florida. Whoa, pineapple guava. Okay. Looks like we have a bunch of beans or peas of some type coming up there. I'm not even sure. Some more cassava. Some Rose of Sharon. Bay leaf, that's one I have not had in a really long time. Finally got back in stock, so that's great. We needed that for some jobs. A couple macadamia nuts and pomegranates. So, whoa, send us the rain. So if you're watching this video right now, get outside, do a little rain dance, send some love to Florida, because we are in extreme dry season. You could see where my overhead irrigation lightly oversprays to where we've had no rain, and this place is a dust ball right now. Everywhere you go, you got to drive slow because you're going to dust yourself out. I need to get out there and actually mulch some trails to keep the dust down, but we're in dry season. It's extremely dry. It's actually extremely abnormally cool though too, which is interesting. Like, we're hitting 50s at night for mid-May in Florida. Unbelievable. High winds the last few weeks, like I mentioned before. Winds have been blowing, so airflow's been really nice. Hasn't been quite stagnant out like normal. It's not that can't breathe humidity in Florida, but it's just dry, which is common for this time of year. I shouldn't really be complaining, but we are definitely ready for that rain. So I think I'm gonna head back to the shipping area. I think I'm gonna head back to the Jabo house. Had a lot of requests for that last video, so hold tight. Whoa, would you look at all that nursery space? Don't tell Katerina. All right, so we are definitely lacking space around here. We've just started moving all of our big 3-gallon material to the other side, so we can have all of that material that I do on deliveries or appointment pickups kind of over in that area. And this side is specifically turning out to be shipping zone. So all of the stuff that we grow for our online store that we're shipping on a weekly basis. And speaking of that, everything that went out last Monday was in California by Friday, and I'm expecting the same thing this week. So really excited about kicking up the shipping schedule with that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday coming on here really soon, getting those plants to you guys a lot faster. So I think for the health of the plant, it's going to work out a lot better for everybody. Getting ready to put another row of tables in here, just like we've done for this one, and we're going to do a one for the next one. So I'll have, 4 more rows on this front bed right here. All of this stuff is going to eventually move out of here. We talked about putting some protection up here for the cold in the winter time. So shipping zone is expanding, so really exciting. It's been a fun adventure. We've been really enjoying the feedback and everybody telling us how successful they are. And it's just really cool to get an email from somebody and they just got their order of plants and they're showing you these stressed out plants, and then a week later you get another email, everything looks great now. So if you guys get those plants and they're stressed and they just went through flipping around in a truck 100 degrees for a couple of days, put them in the dappled light, water them once or twice a day. Within a week, those things will turn around. Plants are way tougher than we are, trust me. So, sweet almond, dwarf and regular variety. As you can see, look at these little tomatoes. Whoa, Everglades tomato. So this one's pretty much like an heirloom here. Can grow actually all summer long in Florida. It's just a small little tomato, but you come out, you pick these every night. They definitely don't have much of a shelf life, so they want to be picked right before dinner, right before that dish. But as far as like a packing, as far as a picking tomato, one that you just go out and that's always there, Everglades tomato is definitely the one to have for Florida. I believe we've got some amaranth there, some stevia, the world's best, the Thai dwarf, the everbearing mulberry, the pink and red Turk's cap. Looks like we've got some barbatus cherries starting to finally come back in. Can't keep up with those. Mexican sunflower, the peanut butter fruit, our West Coast, or kind of Sandhill Farm Select elderberry, some more of that natal plum, Suriname cherries, lots of the nopales, the variegated, the regular, some more of the Turk's cap, cranberry hibiscus coming on for days. Look at all of this quinoa. What? So we've got a field of quinoa coming on here. Looks like we finally got some blue porterweeds coming back on. And the girls have been working out here hard the last few days, so it's a little bit under construction right now. Excuse the mess, we're getting ready to put in some more rows. But there's our native sunshine mimosa, native nitrogen fixing, ground cover, sensitive plant. Some more of the pigeon peas. Looks like we got some Seminole pumpkin there, some lemongrass, and maybe 4-inch. Special variety of the Louisiana sweet sugarcane. Vetiver grass. I've been really impressed with the vetiver grass. It seems to be less susceptible even than the Fakahatchee grass to drought. So that one's doing really well here for us. Perennial peanut. Some more of the another variety of lemongrass. I think we've got 2 different types of lemongrass right now. This is that showstopper, Simpson stopper. I'm almost out of the 1 gallon native Firebush. That's been a pretty popular one. I think we got 3 left. Trying to grow some more or get some more ASAP. This one's been really kind of interesting. I just had somebody reach out to me that told me they got some fruit off of it. The birds beat them to it, so they did not get to taste it. But this is that edible Tibouchina. So Tibouchina, which is typically like a standard landscape plant. I got this from a famous collector out in Dade City or Polk County or somewhere out there off of I-4. His name's Charles Novak. I have a Novak Loquat. I believe there's a Novak Caulifloria, Jaboticaba. He has a couple of fruits named after him. Awesome guy, awesome collector. I got this Tibouchina from him that makes an edible fruit, so super stoked about that one. Garlic chives for days. Don't know what to do with them all. You can see I think we even got 4-inch papaya coming up right now. I think she's even trying to do some 4-inch Firebush. More mulberries. Lots of Roselle. Roselle has been super popular. One that I just can't even keep in stock right now is moringa. The most nutritious terrestrial plant in the world. I think everybody should be growing moringa. It's like having a health food store in your backyard. My seed source is almost wiped out. I hope to keep that one going. I gotta warn you guys, that probably won't be around a lot longer. Having a hard time getting my hands on any type of moringa. Lots of society garlic. The variegated society garlic's been kind of flying off the shelf. We had about 4 times this a few weeks ago. Definitely getting down there. It's been super popular. Yarrow, been a really popular herb we've been shipping out on a weekly basis. The yellow strawberry tree. Can't even keep the red ones in stock, which is crazy. Those are, just flying out of here, unable to keep up. I just did a big job. Actually, we're doing another big job this week. I'm working in Homosassa, Crystal River. You guys will see that video probably in about 2 weeks. Putting a couple of these big trees in, and I was just down south at the olive farm picking these up. And I mean, these guys sell 80 to 100-year-old olive trees. It'll blow your mind. A couple different varieties, and a lot of people don't realize that olives do great here in Florida. They actually grow super fast. There's probably 5 or 6 different varieties. We've got a Frantoio, a Koriki, a Koriki or something like that. The most popular one I know is this Arbequina. So this is the most popular variety to my knowledge. I think this is like a European variety of olive here in Florida. You can press the olive for the oil or brine them and actually eat the olive. I mean, look at this little tree. These things are growing super fast too. I probably need to trim them. So olive tree, gorgeous tree for the front yard, really dooryard, fast growing, doesn't need a lot of water once it's been planted in the ground. Rosemary, moringas, African potato mint. So I have a really good friend who's been really successful with this one. And this makes probably one of the most beautiful full sun ground covers I've ever seen. Thrives without any kind of irrigation. Gorgeous patch. And it makes like these little tiny tubers. African potato mint. It is related to mint, but you cannot use it like a mint. Makes all of these little kind of like Irish potatoes under the ground. The person that I've seen the most successful with it left it in the ground 2 years and did heavy water it and got like really nice sized potatoes. Had a huge harvest. His name's Mark Homesteader, my buddy up in Floral City. So his method, whatever he did, worked better than anybody I've ever seen before. So African potato mint is an awesome perennial just ground cover and also another root crop that you can grow down here. See what else is growing on back in here. Look at all these plants. Got some passion fruit, got some big edible leaf hibiscus, togan spinaches, a bunch of different varieties. These are super popular. Probably one of my favorite perennial greens just because it makes such a huge leaf. Like you could just come out and grab a leaf and make a wrap or put it on a sandwich. Got a couple of different varieties of that. I mean, there's a bunch of weird names that have been developed for these plants. I've heard, edible leaf hibiscus. I've heard togan spinach, and I kind of talked about it a little bit in my last banana video, but the same company that mislabeled the bananas kind of put some interesting names on these. I think they're calling them like Kiko's Crump, and I forget what the other one was, but you can call them what you want. The botanical name with these plants is more important than anything. I kind of like the edible leaf hibiscus myself, but a couple different varieties, and you can really see those apart. I mean, look at this really, really skinny one, and then look at this really, really wide one, and then look at this really round one. So got a couple different varieties. Here's a bigger version of that skinny leaf. Whoa, look up in here. When was the last time I came back in here? So spiral gingers, those are going off right now around the farm. I've been eating those flowers almost every day. Definitely a summertime favorite. This time of year, they're starting to come in really well. Lots of ice cream bean, lots of that Puerto Rican taro. Got a bunch of Jaboticabas kind of hiding back in here. Looks like we got some reds. Whoa. All right, let's see what's growing on over here. Got that special variety of the Miami spinach or the CISO spinach. This is the longleaf variety, so a little less common. Thanks, Tanya. We've been doing really well with that one. Black pepper, I don't think we're doing much with that as far as shipping. Coffee, so I did get some coffee plants. I had a bunch of people request them. I've got some 4-inch and some 1 gallons available. Aloe. I have a friend, let me just tell you, who had some spots on her skin, on her ears. This is years ago, and she told me all she did was apply aloe for every day to her skin, and those spots literally went away. I need to get in the habit of using it myself. I spend a lot of time outside, but I've just heard amazing stuff about what aloe can do, what aloe does for your skin. I've actually heard some crazy stuff about it, like it's almost DNA repairing. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, but this is a powerful plant. I know people that even ingest it. Obviously, it is strong. I've tried aloe in a drink, and it was a little bit too much for me. If you have like that aloe drink from the gas station, it's probably just pure sugar. It's not going to have that same value. So aloe, amazing plant in the landscape. Obviously doesn't require much water. What do we got growing on around here? Some kind of red amaranth. These are a bunch of those 4-inch chaya I was talking about earlier. A couple different varieties. Here's another variety. Got a couple of dragon fruits still hanging on. Another one of our, what do we got growing on over here? Whoa. Suriname spinach. What do we got? Oh, yeah, okay. So they want to call this the Suriname spinach right now. And this one to me is probably one of the, so like the big edible leaf hibiscus, I said that one was a favorite. It is a little bit on the mucinologist side, so it's a little bit what some would say slimy, especially if you're eating it by yourself. If it's in a dish on a sandwich, it's not quite noticeable. What I can say with the Suriname spinach is it has none of that. So we got a really nice crunch to it. Not much of a flavor, a little bit of a sweetness, but as far as having any of that slime, I don't notice it at all with this one. So this is another nice picking perennial green to have out in the food forest, perennial garden. I believe it's really high in omegas. Makes these like little purple flowers, and that's how it kind of spreads itself from seed. What else we got growing on in here? So I could tell the girls have not been here this week. I see a couple of weeds popping up, a couple of indicators. Got a lot more of that sisu spinach, the bacopa. This one is super powerful, super medicinal, and probably should just get an herbalist on here to talk about the medicinal properties of that one. But I've heard for like brain function, bacopa is just amazing. So really powerful plant. And I do not have a horse. In my last 2 nursery videos, everybody's asking me, Pete, you have a horse? No, that is not my horse. That is the neighbor's horse. This is the property line, just so y'all know. Cherry of the Rio Grande. So got a bunch of those right now. Got a bunch coming up. Definitely have a ton coming. Grumi Chama, 1 gallon. Grumi Chama, 4-inch. More of the skinny leaf sisu spinach. Whoa, so grain amaranth, got a bunch of that coming up. Got a bunch of Lago spinach. These are the most beautiful plants ever. Really quite pretty. A lot of sweet almond. I even see some. So they got the sweet almond in here, which is really hard to tell apart when they're small from the everbearing mulberry. I even see a Logo spinach kind of hiding in there. It looks like we've got a bunch of moringa coming on, pigeon pea. Lots of mints, so I probably have that Josh mint, which has been really special, the chocolate mint, which has been really good for us. What else do we have going on? What is this? Lebanon verbena. Here's one of our mints. A couple bananas still hanging on. Whoa, what kind of mints do we got? Goji berry. That is not a very common one for us. We've got some goji berry though. I think I bought those a few months ago, and they've done better than expected. Oh, whoa, little bananas for days. Don't forget, those are a seed. Oh, can't be forgetting the Okinawa spinach. Beautiful. Got that roux. All right, so ton of feedback, ton of comments I received on the new greenhouse. I want to address a couple of those real quick before we go in the Jabo house. So many people said, why not put it right over here? That is our flow. I can't express to you guys how important access is on a property, on a farm, on a design. If I was to put the greenhouse there, it completely put the bottleneck on my flow all the way around the property. That is right up against the property line. There would be no other way to get through here. Right now, UPS comes in this way. They come back to the shipping house. Golf carts come through this way. Dump trucks travel through this way. This is how I get in here to mulch. That's just not going to work. I also had somebody else tell me, that's not permaculture. You're ripping all that out of there, blah, blah, blah. Ripping out your food forest for a greenhouse, kind of like attacking me. So I went in there and I counted. I have 7 loquat trees in there. I have 1 mulberry in there. I have 1 stone fruit in there, and the rest is Mexican sunflower and support plants, which really, to me, no big deal. So we have already started root pruning the fruit trees. They are getting relocated. Nothing is getting wasted there, but at the end of the day, permaculture is not about not making money. If I'm making more money inside the greenhouse and it makes more sense to me to expand my greenhouse operation because that's what funds this whole trip, this whole ship here, this is what keeps the whole thing running, I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to do what makes sense. So, I ran the numbers. I definitely make a lot more money inside of the greenhouse than I do inside of that, that food forest area that has loquats. And I've got loquats all over my property. I have 25 other loquat trees. So, this to me is the best spot to have the greenhouse because it's going to have the full sun. I don't have to take out a bunch of trees, a bunch of other area, keeps it in the back of the house. So I did put a lot of thought into that. I am saving those trees, just so you know. I mean, I thought about that a lot before we ended up making that decision. All those loquats will be, like I said, root pruned and relocated. So if there's anything in there that's worth being saved, I guarantee Ryan's taking it. If you're interested, let me know. Look how full it is in here. Whoa. All right. Whoa. Whoa. What is growing on? Red Jaboticabas. Oh. Guys, it's getting serious in here. So that is exciting. I saw recently that we were starting to sell some Plectranthus. Obviously selling lots of reds, scarlets. I think we're just starting to get some Grimmels on there. Campo Ramon, getting some different varieties up. I mean, guys, these are all Grimmel Jaboticabas. Look at all these Grimmels. Whoa. And more fruit. Oh. Okay. So the Jabos are fruiting. Cambuca, plenty of Edulis, so stoked to see these guys coming up. Guys, I think every one of my red Jaboticabas are flowering right now. I would be lying if I said I've been in here in the last 4 to 5 days. I have not been in here in 4 to 5 days, and seeing some exciting stuff too. So this is my first time seeing all of these fruiting at the same time. Almost every one of the reds are going off. And common question I get every week is, Pete, what Jaboticaba do I start with? I would say if you're kind of new into the game, just want to get your feet wet, you want to try one, maybe you live in an apartment, maybe you live on maybe you just have a balcony. Maybe, you just rent a room at a friend's house. You don't have a lot of space. You can't plant this plant in the landscape. That's the really cool part about the Jaboticabas. They can be grown in a container long term. They can be grown almost anywhere. They can be brought inside in the wintertime. I would say to start with the red Jaboticaba or a Sabra, maybe a scarlet. I get that question all the time. I can't really choose between the 3. I guess if I was to say any 3, just for price point, maybe the red, because it's not quite as expensive as the scarlet and it fruits quicker than the Sabra. I've also had a lot of people ask me about putting like a trifecta or like a Jaboticaba pack together, like a starter kit or something. Haven't quite figured out. Oh, there's the big girl. Oh, talking about you. No, what's up? Okay, she's out of here. So I've had a lot of people ask me about putting like a starter kit, like a Jaboticaba starter kit for the new guy together. I've thought about like maybe putting a discount on like a Grimmel, a Red, and a Sabra or something like that. I don't know. Put it down in the comments down below if you'd be interested in like a discount on a 3-pack, kind of get yourself started in the Jaboticaba world and giving you the Red, the Sabra, and the Grimmel variety. Maybe that's something I'll work out and put together for you guys. So I have seen the comments. I am listening. I just need to do it. So look at all of these fruits. Whoa. Whoa! All right, so this is awesome. This is my first time ever being in here, and every red Jabo has fruit on it. If you notice the lack of words as I was walking around, I was lost for words. I've got, I think, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22 red Jaboticabas starting to put on some fruit and flowers right now. So they've been freakily fruiting and flowering, but never all at the same time like this. So really exciting. They actually have a really nice scent to the flower. So when I came in here, I was like, what is that? And it's the flowers from the Jaboticaba. So they're all going off right now, all kind of doing their thing. Look at this guy, totally filled out. Like, gonna be touching the roof. We're gonna have to move you, man. So you got a couple of brown leaves up there. You're probably frying from touching that plastic. So, Jaboticaba. Whoa, you guys want me to eat one of these? And yes, if you get a Jaboticaba fruit, you want to save it. Plant the seed. These are true to seed. This red variety can fruit in 3 to 5 years from seed. What I really like about the red is it has a much thinner skin than the than the Sabra variety. So the Sabra is quite delicious, but the skin is definitely a little bit thicker. Maybe kind of has some tannins or something in it. I don't know. If you ate a bunch of them, they maybe kind of start to get old, but if you just have one Sabra, no big deal. I know a lot of people won't even eat the skin, but I'm going to shut up and eat this. The red ones, the skin is delicious. 2 seeds. All right, so 3 to 5 years, both of those could be fruit and plants. That was exciting. All right, so Jaboticaba land. Things are happy in here. Everything is doing well. Girls are doing an awesome job. Looks like there's an area or two maybe still needs to be weeded, but you know this is one area that is super difficult to keep up with the weeds. It's really tough to weed out these trays and getting in and around these little plants. A lot of times you're pulling the weed and you're disturbing that small plant. So this is definitely a more difficult area to do weeding in and to do maintenance in. And you know, a lot of commercial companies use what's called a pre-emergent. It's a granular pre-emergent that they're putting in the pots, that they're putting into the trays, they're putting into these soil mixes. And it's basically like, you know, a dry version of Roundup. I mean, I don't think it's actually made by the same company, but the same idea. It's an herbicide that's going to kill the weeds before they come up. It's a pre-emergent, so this kind of stuff's been around forever. It's not something we do around here. Pulling weeds by hand is definitely a lot more work, definitely a lot more time, and I believe, you know, for the long run, the health of the plant is the better way to go. So hope you guys enjoyed this little update video. We are shipping Mondays, Tuesdays, half day Wednesdays sometimes. Plants are getting out much earlier in the week. Also, other exciting news to share. I just got off the phone yesterday with my UPS rep. We've kind of moved up a level. Pretty soon, within the next 2 weeks, I should have some different structuring going on. Hopefully I can see a better shipping rate from those guys that I can show you guys too. So working on kind of redesigning everything, always trying to make stuff better, always kind of changing how we do things. You know, I think the shipping house, those girls have that stuff every week at another level. You know, right now they just asked me for zip ties last week. They have a new method of wrapping the pot in cellophane and putting a bag on it and zip tying it shut. Doing a really good job of just trying to get these plants to you in the best ultimate condition, so they're going to thrive when they get to your place. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I'm going to shut up. Be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, maybe go ahead and do that. Most importantly, what do? We get outside and we pound dirt. Pound it.